Hey guys, John from flighttraining, and today we're going to be talking about BasicMed. Those are the new rules regarding medical certificates that just came out from the FAA. They go into effect May 1st of 2017. We're going to talk about how to utilize them, how they help you, and what you need to do to actually operate under these new rules and how to take advantage of them. So for starters, what is BasicMed? Well, BasicMed is basically what was born from the FAA out of all of your AOPA membership dues that you paid to AOPA. They took that, lobbied Congress, and they pushed Congress to pass a law that said that the FAA had to be nicer to pilots and basically let us fly little airplanes if we were allowed to drive big semi-trucks and, RVs and boats and all that stuff. We should be able to fly our little airplanes too, even if we do have a tiny little medical condition that may otherwise disqualify us. So they kind of loosened up some of the regs there, and they also made it so you don't have to go to an AME every time for a medical exam. So before, if you were over age 40 and you had a third-class medical, you had to go to your AME doctor for your medical exam, and you had to pay him like $150, generally out of pocket, because he probably wasn't covered by your insurance. So now we don't have to do that anymore, and we'll talk about how exactly. So, for starters, what do you need to fly under BasicMed? Well, there's a few key things. First off, you need to have a driver's license. So you need to have a valid US driver's license. They basically figure in the sense that, well, hey, if you got a driver's license, you can see to drive and you can pass that test, well then you should probably be okay to fly-ish, maybe. So, you gotta have the driver's license, that's step one. Step two, well, you need to have held AFA medical certificate after July 15th of 2006. So, if you're a brand new pilot, or maybe you're a sport pilot, and you want to take advantage of these new rules, and you've never held an FAA medical certificate, you're going to have to go get one, so that you will have held one after July 15th of 2006. Now, it doesn't have to be issued after July 15th, 2006. It has to have been valid after that date. So it could have been issued in 2005, 2004, something like that. As long as it was valid after that date, first, second, or third class medical, then you don't have to go and get another one. You can just follow these BasicMed rules that we're going to talk about here and outline. So you may have no medical certificate right now, and to get your medical back, you don't have to actually get a medical back. You just have to follow the BasicMed rules. Pretty neat. So for our number 3 on the list, that is, you have to take something that's called a comprehensive medical exam checklist, your CMEC, to your primary care doctor or family doctor when you go for your annual checkup. And you have to complete that checklist with him. He has to actually complete it, actually. You have to give it to him, and he's going to go through it and make sure that he basically conducts an exam that the FAA is satisfied with, because some doctors might just look at you and be like, yeah, you're great. The FAA wants to give some guideline because that primary care doctor that you're seeing may or may not have been trained by the FAA in Oklahoma to be an aviation medical examiner. So if this is just your regular family doctor that you used to not be able to go see for your FAA medical exam, now you can. You just have to see him and use this CMEC, this checklist, when you go see him. That checklist, of course, will be available through the FAA when it comes out in May of 2017. Next on the list, you need to get your physical examination by a state licensed physician, so your family doctor works, can be covered by your health insurance. You're going for your annual checkup anyways, and you have to have that physician complete the CMEC, and he needs to do that every 48 months. So instead of going, obviously you're probably going to go every year, but you need to see him at least every 48 months and have him complete that checklist. Now, the other thing you have to do is take an online medical education course, online medical education examination course, so that you educate yourself on how to examine yourself and know if you're fit to fly or not. A lot of stuff you probably already know about, but it never hurts to learn a little bit more, and the FAA wants to make sure that you know enough to be able to self-certify and be like, yeah, I'm alive, I'm not dead, that's good. Now you can do that yourself once you get educated by the FAA rather than having her tell you. So we need to have that online course done, and that online course is going to be available from AOPA. It'll be available on our website. We'll have a link on there on fly@mikealpha.com, and that's going to be a FAA sanctioned course that you complete. And also in there, you're going to consent to a NDR, National Driver Registry check. Basically, they're going to make sure they can look and see if you have any DUIs, because typically if you get a DUI, that will disqualify you from having a medical certificate and most likely disqualify you from operating under BasicMed as well. Not to say that once you get a DUI you can never fly again, but there's a little bit of a process you have to go through, and that's something that we'll talk about a different day. Anyways, what are your privileges with BasicMed? So get rid of all that. What can we actually do with our BasicMed medical? It's basically a third-class medical, so all those sorts of things, right? All the things you could do as a third-class medical, you can now do with BasicMed. Few extra stipulations though, and they kind of make sense. They're fair enough, right? You can't fly with more than 5 passengers. So you can still fly your Cessna 206, you can still fly your Cherokee 6 and some of your bigger aircraft, your Cirrus with 5 seats, that's fair game, but you can't necessarily go fly a Caravan with 14 people in it, or a Pilatus. So you can fly complex aircraft, you can fly retracts, all that sort of stuff, but you can't fly something that has like 14 seats in it. So it's got to have less than 6 seats, and not only can't fly with more than 5 passengers, there's also another line in the advisory circular that states from the FAA that you cannot fly an aircraft that's authorized to carry more than 6 people. So, other stipulation is it's got to be under 6,000 pounds. So take your big airplane, put it on diet, and then you can go fly it. So it's got to be under 6,000 pounds gross weight. That covers a lot of airplanes though. That covers your Cirruses, your Cessnas, your Pipers, like 6-seat, Cessnas, Pipers, things like that, Cirruses. I don't know of anything that really pushes the limit there that, has less than 6 seats. Most 6-seat aircraft are well under 6,000 pounds, so it shouldn't be an issue there. They kind of figure, the idea here was like, hey, if you can drive an SUV and be like totally blind and deaf, then we should be able to fly airplanes like that too, right? And we can carry 6 people and weigh 6,000 pounds like an SUV. That was the logic behind that when they were drafting all this legislation way back. So, other rule is you gotta go slow. You gotta go under 250 knots and below 18,000 feet. That's pretty cool though. I mean, like, I'm not gonna go above 18,000 in a single engine airplane anytime real soon. I mean, unless it's like turbocharged and you have oxygen. Or it's pressurized or something, you have a hard time getting up there. So below 18,000 feet, below 250 knots indicated, so you can still actually go really fast, because 18,000, 250 knots indicated, that's pushing into the 300 range. So yeah, you can still go very fast, but probably disqualifies your Pilatuses and things like that from the equation. Maybe some of your TBMs might be off the table as well. But, you still have plenty of other options there on the rest of the small airplane market. Next thing we want to talk about is, what do you need to do to maintain your BasicMed medical? Or let's say medical in quotes, because it's not really a medical, right? But what do you have to do to maintain it? So, obviously you have to do that CMEC checklist with your doctor, or with some sort of state licensed physician, actually every 48 calendar months, or within the past 48 months, and you have to keep a copy of that. So you want to have that filed away somewhere to show that, yeah, you did complete that, he completed it, and you did that within the past 48 months. Then you also need to make sure that you're not being treated by a physician for anything that's disqualifying. And there's a whole thing of, illnesses they'll talk about on that online course, and a whole list on the FAA website. But if you're being treated for a disqualifying condition, you can't go fly. Really, even if you have a disqualifying condition, you can't go fly. But certainly if you're being treated for one, they felt that they should actually write that down in the advisory circular, so we went ahead and wrote it down here too. Then also, you need to make sure that you have the course completion certificate. So when you take the course from AOPA through flyatmikealpha.com, whatever it is, and you get that BasicMed course completion certificate, you have to keep a copy of that. That kind of is going to start to serve like carrying around your medical. They haven't really given us any clear indications as to if you have to carry that in your person, or if you just have to keep it somewhere safe, like you leave your logbook at home, maybe you leave that at home. But we'll see how things play out. They'll give us some indication probably come May of 2017 here, when things get a little more clear. Also, that course completion certificate must have been done within 24 calendar months. So, not that difficult really. Once every 2 years, you gotta take an online course. Once every 4 years, your doctor's gotta do a little checklist with you when you go for your annual checkup. Really simple, saves you some money. You don't have to go patronize your local AME anymore and give them 100, 150 bucks for that third class medical. And so now, things are a lot easier for us. Now, as far as what you can do with this, we talked about what you can do with it, and it does cover CFIs. It specifically states in the advisor circular that, hey, if you're a CFI, as long as you're not pilot in command, or even if you are acting as pilot in command, you have BasicMed, you can do that. You just can't work for hire, and remember, CFIs technically don't fly for hire. We're compensated for our instructional services, but we're not actually flying for hire. Other things, you can be a safety pilot still. Safety pilots have to be fully qualified and capable crew members. BasicMed makes you fully qualified and capable, provided you're a safety pilot on something, say like a 172 or a 182, building some sim time with a partner. So you can still do those sorts of things. So BasicMed is really cool. We've got a link in the description below to our website, and we'll be posting come May the link on there in the course for you to go ahead and take to qualify for BasicMed. Hopefully you found this informational, and if you have any other questions, leave them in the comments below, but also there's a link on flightmikehealth.com to the advisor circular that really spells everything out from the FAA, gives you a few examples, and really goes into detail and answers a lot of questions that you may have about this. But don't hesitate to shoot your question in the comments below. We'll try to answer the best we can. Make sure you give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, keep up with our latest videos that come out. We really appreciate all y'all's support. Check out our Patreon page. It is how we are able to fund all this, pay for gas for our airplanes, pay for the upkeep of the website and all the camera equipment and everything like that. Really appreciate all your support. Check out Patreon. And remember, if you can't fly every day, then fly at mikehealth.com. We will see y'all next time.